connection to pop this video out for you. We've never done this. This is new on YouTube in general, being able to go live and invite somebody vertically on mobile. So that's kind of cool. And I'm still down here on vacation. All right, we down here at the Keys, about to go. Where are we about to go, Preston? Fishing. Preston's favorite day right here. He's fixing to try to catch something. And he's wrenching his boat off real. Take him a little bit of time. He get it all wrenched down. Me and Aaron were sitting here texting, and we talk about this a lot. So, got a few people on. Let me know in the chat if you know what kudzu is, because some of y'all don't even know what kudzu is. All right, if you in Alabama or Georgia, you know what kudzu is. I don't feel like I gotta explain it to you. But some of you northern guys, you don't have kudzu. It's a invasive vine, and it is very permeable. It is all over the South. And I'm gonna turn around here and show you over there. See that be mangroves. That's mangroves. Okay, that would be Florida's version of kudzu. Imagine chopping through a mile of mangroves. Aaron, do you got kudzu in Daphne when you was a kid? Do you have any of that? Thick. So yeah, they'd cut that down or burn it off one day, and you'd be like, oh, the land is not flat here. My parents were always big on, when I was a kid, we'd go to my grandparents almost every Sunday after church. They had a big farm down there. And this is what we got told as kids: go outside and play. Okay. With that exact tonality. All right. It was, go outside and play. You see that little spike there? Go outside and play. And what that meant was, you bothered me. That's what that really meant. But the problem was, I like going outside. But the problem was, when I was a kid, where they were sending you to was a impenetrable barrier of kudzu. That's where they were wanting you to go play. And you get out there and you're like, well, I think I might die out here trying to play in this kudzu. Machetes were required. And I remember very well when I graduated to be old enough that they would, go to the flea market and you get that little $8 machete.
Yeah.
And I thought I was Jack Sparrow. Done got me a sword out there. And we spent summers just in the woods, just chopping. Just shit didn't need to be chopped, but just chopping out there. That's what we did.
Yep.
It was always hot, I feel like. The cicadas, I think this is the year that the cicadas are coming out again. They come out every 23rd spring, along with the Jeepers Creepers guy. The cicadas come out at the same time. And it was always about 100. And then when the cicadas lit off, it would go to about 106. I don't know what they have to do with it, but they do increase the heat. You ain't going to never tell me different. Number one, heat lightning is real. Number two, cicadas. Cicadas do contribute to global warming. You ain't gonna tell me no different. AP's out there walking. So what the hell does all that have to do with business? Tell me what we're talking about that with chopping through the business. That was strutting that ass.
I think it really means, you see, when you start your business, there's a ton of different things, and your brain's really overwhelmed, and it's hard because you've never, especially if you've worked a job, you kind of had the day always planned out for you. They gave you a very detailed job description of what you're responsible for and what you're not responsible for. And creation you were never responsible for. Ever. You were never responsible in a job for creating anything. You were responsible for moving something from A to B in a process that they invented for you, and it was very detailed in how they laid it out, and this is what you get paid hourly or salary, whatever. Well, you dump you off now into entrepreneur land, you're looking at that wall of kudzu because you're having to chop through it because you don't know which way is up. You don't know what to do first, what to market first, how to spend the money, what should I do, what should I buy first, all of these things. And that's this big, overwhelming thing for the new guy. But if he's willing to just start chopping, right? He's just going to start chopping through the kudzu because it never gets thin. It's always thick as hell. Okay. It just gets thicker. It feels like, but you make more money. The thicker the kudzu gets, the more money you make. Okay.
That's true.
And I think the wall of kudzu makes guys turn around and pick the easy way out. They won't spend the money on marketing. They won't, like some of the stuff that we've done, they won't ever embark on creating something for an industry. It's scary, and it requires usually a big financial investment, time investment, and you still don't even know, not positive that it works.
Yeah, that's the scary thing for the guy that's starting his wash business is, throwing a bunch of money and time and resources into it, and then the fear or the real dilemma is there could be nothing on the other side of that kudzu. And that's, guys, that's always the case. It could be, what if you started a business and you're up and running good and you live on the coast somewhere, and in a year when you're just starting to get some traction, a Cat 5 hurricane parks its ass right on top of where you work. And now what are you gonna do? What are you gonna clean? Because like Katrina, they ain't nothing got cleaned right in there for years. Because the hell, when am I living there? So that's the fear with the chopping. And so what a lot of guys do is they'll default to the interstate that's already clear. Well, the problem with that, and there's pros and cons to everything. So the pro is it's easier going. The con is everybody's over there. So if you're complaining about the competition, if you don't like people riding by you on the interstate, then you need to get on a road that ain't nobody on yet, and that usually means you're going to have to cut your own damn road. And it is a lot of work. Myron Golden said something the other day. I was like, it was great, just a great one-liner. He said people will work harder physically for their whole life so that they don't have to work hard mentally. And that's what we're talking about with the chopping through all that, is the resistance that you meet along the way. It's usually the mental game. It's not in the day to day. It's coming home and figuring out what your next tactic is. What are you going to do for your next addition to your business, right? Adding another bolt on thing to your business that could be just an epiphany you have one night over meatloaf, right?
Yeah.
That you turn around a year later and like, God dang, that was $50,000 last year.
Don't discount your ideas that happen over meatloaf. Don't discount. One thing I learned, Cody, and it kind of exponentiated when you and I got together, was it's like, don't count out any ideas. Okay, like really evaluate your ideas, because Cody and I we both just thought before we got together or whatever, we just thought we were both crazy as hell.
It's crazy.
Because there's very few people around you who think how you think. And then when you meet another guy in the kudzu, you're like, hey, dude, what's up, bro? What you been doing? Hey, let me see.
Dude,
Oh, yeah, you got that Gerber machete. All right, we've been chopping.
it's got the saw teeth on the back.
Yeah.
It's like playing, it's super contra with two players versus one player. And it's like, wow. And so that's really powerful to be able to know. I want you guys to know that you're not alone. There's other dudes that have been where you're at. There's every entrepreneur out there that's trying to do something big. You're going to feel pretty wore out. Like you're going to feel like you're just lost in the weeds a lot of times. But then what happens is every once in a while, you're going to stumble across a small elder. And that's when you get some wind back in your sails and you can go another piece of the journey. What are you looking at right there on that fence?
Which one?
You just walked up to that little
That wood
sample
wizard?
over there, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I got a little sample over here. I was told, you told me, hell, it don't work. I was like, I can't believe that wood wizard don't work. I was like, so I went over here and tried it out. It works good as hell.
We had it was in a different pressure washing group. A guy posted a demo he did, a test area of, he had a section of wood fence, and he cleaned the left hand side with Wood Wizard and he cleaned the right hand side with something else. And I took screen other side looked, honestly, I showed it to about 20 people. I cropped it down where they could just see the fence. I was like, hey, can you tell any difference in these two panels? No, they both look real good. Like, okay, that's what I thought. It looks good as hell.
See,
What is that right there?
this is nothing. Just I sprayed something right there. I don't even remember what that was. I don't remember what that was, but this is just a ugly fence. I ain't gonna tell y'all what chemical that is. Y'all gonna have to guess in a video I'm about to release what made it look like that. Okay, but this is dry, completely dry, 24 hours. All right,
That looks
look good as
really
hell.
good. It don't work.
20-minute dwell time, and just I use a 25-20, like J Rod tip. It's kind of like a 40 degree, probably a little less pressure than a white tip.
So
But
did it fur it up? Or you're able to stay off the wood a lot with that sodium metasilicate Wood Wizard,
yeah,
getting it
I mean
cleaner.
this wood. Yeah, this wood looks just like this wood that ain't been cleaned. So
Right. No
as
damage.
far as furring, there's no damage or striping or uneven striping. The cool thing is I wasn't like
Yeah.
super technical. Like,
Yeah. On the one.
yeah, I didn't care. I was like, meh, meh,
Yeah.
and
I've
it didn't
noticed
even.
that when I've used it. It's real forgiving because the chem's done most of the work. It's sort of like pre-treating a driveway. You can be a little more
Yeah,
willy nilly with the surface cleaner if you treat it right, on the front end.
yeah, yeah.
It
So
looks great.
it did a good job. Hell,
But
she hell.
that's an example. That's an example of a Kim. That's a little kudzu chop through wind, and it just gets easier. Some of them get easier. Now there's still going to be big adventures that you get to go on, that are still going to be challenging. But Aaron has talked about this a lot in his early videos. You go back and watch some of his old videos on his channel. They're real just motivational. And he talks about getting some early wins. And I think that is so important for guys to get some early wins because you find out that there is stuff in the kudzu, in all the mental thinking, and you're going to get pushback from your wife. You're going to get, I never did, but I know a lot of guys do. They get pushback because they're eating meatloaf, but they're not present. They're working, and it's just going to be that for a while. And I get it. I do get it from their perspective. The whole point of going into business was not to die on the truck, not to think about this stuff 24/7. But in the beginning of your empire, you're in empire building stage, and that's what it takes. It takes a lot of mental bandwidth, and if you'll put in that, if you'll chop through the night, you'll get to a place where you don't have to do hardly much chopping at all. In fact, you can mechanize the chopping, and now you're getting like 10x gains. Right now, when we pull levers, they move big shit. Like we pull a lever, big things happen.
Oh yeah, you start figuring out when you're in the kudzu, like you're saying, early wins or the little El Dorado, little baby gold. Get like a if you're playing a video game, like some of the stuff we used to play, what that would equate to. It's kind of like a video game in a way if you think about business, like a video game. Except you're dealing with real money, but that's what it is. You start getting bigger and bigger wins, and you start figuring out like, okay, I can get a bigger machete, a sharper machete. I can learn how to sharpen my machete better. I'm more efficient, right? Each chop equals two chops of the old one, and that's what happens when you invest well and you market well. Things that we talk about,
Yeah, your
skills go up, your
I,
vision goes.
we were talking about a guy just the last couple of days. It's a great example because I think of like your website as a machete tool. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you acquired a new, when that thing starts popping, bro, it's popping. I think about your social media as a machete tool. It's amazing how many guys, like, they don't post on their social stuff. Like, they never post on their GMB. They half-ass set it up. There's stuff ain't filled out. I think about a call answering service. That may be a machete. You call them, you can't get them on the phone, right? So using something like Quote IQ, that's another blade of the machete. It's another 4 inches of cutting edge on the machete. Your truck and your rig, that's the big obvious one. We know that. We got to have that. But all these other little tertiary things we won't think about. Here's a good example for you. Oh boy, up in the Pacific Northwest, he's a dumbass. He bought himself a skid from Softwash Systems, and damn thing didn't winterize it, and mad as hell because he don't want to work on the equipment. In fact, he thinks it should never have a problem. In fact, he thinks he shouldn't winterize it, and because he spent 50 something thousand, that it's a magic skid, and it's beyond physics. He spent so much money, physics quit counting against him. And he's got, I screenshot. I know the guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I feel bad for him because he's got like 25 dudes, industry guys. You know, Kelly Nielsen down in Florida runs a shop. He was chiming in. Tim Cray up in Oregon was chiming in. Just dudes that don't have a dog in the fight, that are just honestly trying to tell him the gospel truth to help him. Like, bro, you're sending all your frustration at the wrong place. It's not Softwash Systems' problem. You didn't winterize. You got a bunch of check valves. It's a fancy system. Hell, you knew it was a fancy system. Like, now you're just surprised it's a fancy system. Hell, it was fancy the day you got. In fact, the part that you were happy about, you're now frustrated about. So that's all internal bullshit. So his machete that he's missing, the section of machete that this old boy's missing, is he don't have no maintenance ability and troubleshooting. Now the thing is, you can operate a rig for days and weeks on end and may not have a problem, right? But when you have a problem, what you're doing is you're hitting a limb with the backside of the damn machete. And then you're
Yep.
mad at the machete seller and like, well, that ain't gonna do it. And to everybody else that can see that, it's really obvious. So if you're a white collar guy, and this guy's not white collar, he just retarded. He don't want to go and pay nobody, and he's now doubled down on his ego that he's right and everybody, that sold him the rig is wrong. You're gonna have to eat a little humble pie and say, I either need to learn it or I need to find me a mechanic to get this thing fixed because it's literally a $10 check valve. And it's my fault because I didn't winterize. But your white
Yep.
ass ain't going to do that. So you won't be mad at AC Lock here. And I don't like that. It's, if you take the aggravation out of it, it's just bad for him. He's just going to whack right there on that same vine until he dies or the Lord comes back and gets him.
Yep. And maybe that's what needs to happen. Maybe I'm all for, look, I don't believe in Chuck Darwin too much, but heck, I ain't quite against natural selection.
Oh, Chuck. Hell, he wasn't wrong. And look, a lot of guys will do that. They'll get in the business. They'll be in Washington a couple years. They'll change gears and do something else, sell the rig. Now, here's the thing you're going to say. That guy can say two things. He can say, I tried, Dad. That's a bunch of horse shit. There's too many people in the market. It's saturated. It's all these guys on YouTube. You can say all that, or you can just say, well, I failed, and I'm going to go this way. Hell, I'm going to get into whatever. I may go back and get a corporate job, right? That's your path of woods that you're cutting. That's okay. Like, that's totally fine, dude. You can pivot, move, and juggle, and turn it into a hobby, shut it down. Do one of my buddies.
You there? Billy Jackson. Can you hear me? Am I here alone? I'm out alone in the Kudzu. Well, first things first, I gotta find this Padron if I'm out here alone, by God. Hoffbauer, are you still on? Am I on by myself? I wanted to hear that story. He left, I guess.